Hi everyone. I have an interesting concept that I just want to run past you, and you let me know what you think and whether or not you think it's achievable. And that is about the importance of a moment. Now, we might need to describe what a moment is. So, I will give you an example. This experience, me talking to you now, is my moment. There is nothing more important to me than this particular moment. How would it be if every moment we have is acknowledged as the most important experience that we can have? So right now, this moment that I'm talking to you is more important than anything in my life, because this is simply what I am doing right now. It doesn't mean I exclude my family in other areas of my life. It doesn't mean that I don't get concerned about other issues that are around me. But what it does mean is that in this moment, I'm going to attempt to do the best that I can do. Now, sometimes we may say or do something that's offensive, or we may not do whatever it is we're doing as well as what we could. But if I focus on this moment as being the most important thing in my life, does that exclude all the other things that are of a concern to me? So how do you become focused on the moment? Now, I'm not a Buddhist. I don't have any religious affiliations whatsoever, but I know that there are ways by which one can meditate so that they can be, while meditating, in a specific moment, which a lot of people find quite empowering. But what about this moment? What about the moment you're in right at this moment watching this video? In this moment, can we get rid of all the other extraneous stuff that sits around us and make this moment the most important moment that we can have? If we're able to do that more often, make the moment the most important thing. So that could be an interaction with somebody. It could be the way we interact with a colleague. It can be the way we interact with our family and our children. Whatever it is that we're doing, we focus on that as being the most important moment that we can have. I often wonder what would change if the moment became the most important aspect of our lives. Now, I can appreciate that there are times when within that moment we might choose to act badly, or we might choose to do things that are harmful to other people, or we might just choose to do things that are just plain stupid. But if we consciously focus on the purpose of the moment, then surely the other stuff, the stuff that gets in the way, is less likely to impact us. So, and we're less likely to impact our outside world in a way which is going to be harmful to it and to us. So, we only live by moments. There are a billion moments, probably, depending on how you define a moment, a second, a minute, an hour, a day, right? However we define it is, I guess, up to us. But for me, a moment is the thing that we're doing at that particular time. So if I'm having a conversation with somebody, if I'm working with somebody, then the moments that we spend together are the most important moments in my life, right at that particular point. That's all there is that moment. I can't allow other stuff to interfere, because that will destroy and eradicate the moment, the important moment. So think about your moments. What moments are important to you? What thought processes you have that prevent you from doing what it is that you need to do? I can remember that on many occasions, in fact, when I was working with people, if I had extraneous stuff happening to me that was concerning me, I know that my moments were pretty crappy, that I couldn't concentrate on what I needed to do. So maybe there's some aspect of the moments, the good moments that we need to have, that are about getting rid of, eradicating some of those crappy things from our mind so that we can do the best job that we can while in the moment. So I just want you to think about what are your moments like? What are good moments for you? What moments are interrupted by other stuff, that perhaps stuff that shouldn't be there, that really isn't that important in the moment anyway? And why is it that we allow extraneous stuff to filter through to our minds to interfere with moments which are separate from, they're not a part of this other world in which we tend to live? The moment that you're having with me right now, the moment that you'll have when you stop watching this video, the next interaction that you have with somebody else, that will be the next most important moment in your life. The question we need to be asking, I think, is how are we going to manage that moment that makes it the best possible moment that it can be? And often that is about finding ways to switch off from the stuff that keeps pouring in, that keeps telling us that this moment shouldn't be the best moment that it can be. Now, within those moments, we can have many distractions, many of them. It could be someone yelling at us. It could be not only just other thoughts, but stuff that's around us that's interfering with how that moment should be. And sometimes we just can't get rid of that stuff. I mean, sometimes it's just there, it comes in, it intrudes, and it's just part of that moment. And I think we need to be aware that the moment that we want it to be the best moment that it can be is by us focusing on the things that mean the most to us, the values, the principles, the ideals that we hold that are important to us, to make them part of that moment. So when you're having a conversation with somebody, what's the purpose of this conversation? Is it about gratification for you, or is it about helping someone to understand something? Is it about a fun experience, about laughing and joking and being in their space and them in your space? What's the moment about that makes it so important? I often think of moments I have, for example, at a football match. I enjoy that because that moment, I'm sharing that moment with thousands and thousands of other people. And sometimes that moment when we're losing is a sad moment, had a few of those over the years, and sometimes it's a joyous moment. But in that moment, I'm experiencing also what is around me, as well as, you know, myself and my expression to others. So how do we celebrate those moments? Do we acknowledge them enough? Do we look at moments that we've had where we've been discussing something with somebody and we realize how important that moment was for them? Or do we look at it and think, well, in that moment, I had a realization that was really, really important. Or because of that moment, I helped someone get to a place where they thought they would never be able to go. So I think we need to look at the moments we have in the context of the value that it served and what we learned from that particular moment. The reason why I'm having this discussion is that I'm very conscious that in my experience, I don't have enough of those moments. The times when I can look back at a moment and think about how I can celebrate that moment because it was valuable, because I behaved myself, I contributed appropriately to that discussion or whatever it was. And sometimes I need to remind myself about being in that moment as opposed to just a reflection on an event or something that has happened. So for example, right now, I'm trying to make this my best moment. Can this moment be your best moment? I guess that's what we're asking. So what do moments mean to you? How can you best express those moments? And do you think about moments enough to understand how you're behaving within those moments and how those behaviours impact others and enhances their lives? Thanks for being with me, everybody. Take care.